President Davis, we are live. You may start the meeting.
Good evening and welcome. Good evening and welcome to the August 13th regular board meeting of the Capistrano Unified School District. The meeting is now in session. The time is 5:01 p.m. Mrs. Schwenke, can you please call the roll?
Trustee Castellanos is absent. Trustee Pritchard is absent. Trustee Zollinger?
Here.
Trustee Jones is absent. Trustee Adams?
Here.
Trustee Bullicus?
Here.
Trustee Davis?
Here. Before we adopt the agenda, please note that staff has corrected agenda item 11D1, revising 2026-2027 board meeting schedule. The March 25 now reads March 11th, reflecting a recommended change in the date of the March meeting. May I have a motion to adopt the agenda as amended? Moved by Trustee Zollinger, seconded by Trustee Bullicus. Mrs. Swanky, do we have any requests to speak for the adoption of the agenda?
We have none.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0-3 to adopt the agenda. Ms. Schwenke, before the board recesses to closed session, are there any requests to speak for a closed session agenda item?
There are none.
Thank you. The board will now recess to closed session to address the following agenda items: student expulsions, 2 cases; conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, 6 cases; conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, 1 case; conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, 8 cases; conference with labor negotiators, CUEA, CSEA, Teamsters, CUMA, and unrepresented employees. Liability claims, 2 cases; public employee, employment, adoption, executive director, fiscal services. The board will now recess to closed session.
President Davis, you may start the meeting.
Good evening and welcome to the August 13th regular board meeting of the Capistrano Unified School District. The meeting is now in session. The time is 6:04 p.m. Mrs. Swanky, can you please call the roll?
Student Board Member Fingers.
Present.
Trustee Castellanos?
Here.
Trustee Pritchard?
Present.
Trustee Zollinger?
Here.
Trustee Jones?
Here.
Trustee Adams?
Here.
Trustee Bullicus?
Here.
Trustee Davis?
Here. Joining us tonight is our newly appointed student member, Taylor Fingerish. A senior at Capa Valley High School. We're pleased to have Taylor with us tonight, especially as the school year officially begins on Tuesday, and we appreciate her commitment to her new role. We look forward to hearing from you with your updates coming September. Thank you. And Taylor, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Of course. Please stand and place your right hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We're now moving on to public comment. The total time for public comment shall be 20 minutes. Mr. Swanky, do we have any requests to speak for One moment, please. We're going to go ahead and read out the report from closed session.
On agenda item 4A, student expulsions, trustees voted 7-0 to approve staff recommendations on the following cases. Case number 2026-022, case number 2026-024. On agenda item 4B, anticipated litigation, trustees voted 7-0 to approve staff recommendation on the following cases. ADR cases 2026-0608, 2026-0616, 2026-0618, 2026-0623, 2026-0728, 2026-0729. On agenda item 4C, anticipated litigation, no reportable action. On agenda item 4D, existing litigation, trustees voted 7-0 to approve staff recommendations on the following cases. OAH case numbers 2026-03-1142, 2026-03-1260, 2026-04-0075, 2026-604-1009, 2026-04-1101, 2026-050472, 2026-051102, 2026-060112. On agenda item 4E, conference with labor negotiators. This topic was not discussed. The board will return to closed session following the board's regular business. On agenda item 4F, liability claims, trustees voted 7-0 to approve staff recommendations to reject the following claims. Rejection of government claim number 2514775 and rejection of government claim number 2614803. On agenda item 4G, public employee employment appointment, trustees voted 7-0 to approve staff recommendation to appoint Celeste Banda, Executive Director, Fiscal Services, effective July 7th, 2026. This concludes my report.
Thank you. We are now moving on to public comment. The total time for public comment shall be 20 minutes. Mrs. Swanky, do we have any requests to speak for non-agenda items?
We have 3.
Thank you. Each speaker will be allotted 3 minutes.
Our first speaker is Martha McNicholas, followed by Rudy Kraus, and I apologize, Rafen Perez. I apologize.
Good evening, trustees and Superintendent Brown. I'm not here to complain about anything. That's a good thing. On Memorial Day weekend, Saturday of Memorial Day weekend, there was a small 2-acre brush fire that happened behind George White Elementary, also behind my house. It was kind of scary, but thank you to the Orange County Fire Authority for a quick reaction and put it out. But it did highlight the overgrown vegetation in this area designated by the state of California as a very high fire hazard zone. So it got a lot of us, got our hackles up and went to the city and said, you need to mow this area down. And they said, well, this is kind of shared area. Part of it is the school district area. So I give props to the city for going out and doing their weed abatement, which was all the grass area. But what I really want to highlight is John Forney and his groundskeeping crew that got out there and trimmed down the shrubs and trimmed the limbs of the trees up to the 6-foot level. If you've looked at any of the wildfire mitigation requirements, they're on it. I mean, it was, I have pictures if you want. Some of the shrubs were overgrown so much, they were overgrown the fence and within 10 feet of the portables behind George White. So this got really scary that weekend, but they were on it. And thank you, John, and the crew for always keeping our students safe and their collaboration with the city of Laguna Niguel. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Rudy Kraus.
Hi. I've discussed this with you several times. I've been discussing this since 2019. We're talking about Islam. How does it relate to the Board of Education as an educational concept? Well, multiculturalism is our greatest strength, is your statement. Diversity is our greatest strength, is your statement. These are not just concepts that are limited to you guys in Orange County and the United States. They're stated throughout the entire world as a justification to allow Muslims to enter the countries, all of Europe, Germany, Sweden, France, Denmark, Australia, all being terrorized by Muslims. You saw the Murdoch report came out a couple weeks ago. 252,000 British white girls raped by Pakistani Muslim gangs. And she's turning her back because she has Stockholm Syndrome. She's showing, please don't take my time. I'm not being racist. There is, facts have no feelings. 252,000 British white girls getting raped by Pakistani Muslim gangs. That's racism. Me bringing it to your attention is me telling the truth. Her turning her back is her averting her eyes because she has Stockholm Syndrome. She has suicidal empathy for these people that do not assimilate with the United States. No assimilation, no strength. You guys are pushing the agenda with your statement to the students. Multiculturalism is our greatest strength. Is that a true statement? Yes or no? It's an open-ended statement. Multiculturalism without assimilation is our greatest weakness that allows these Muslim invaders to come into the United States and set up parallel communities. They have no intention of assimilating. They want Sharia law. And her, with her back to me, I want you to practice what you preach. Go put a burqa on. And when you get back to the chair, don't speak, because you're not allowed to speak in public. You'll be stoned, just like the 17 Iranian girls were stoned for showing their hair. They raped them first in the town square.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Roger Perez.
Well, this leads me perfectly into what I want to talk about, racism. You know, my name is Dr. Roger Perez. I've spoken here several times. I'm a super proud parent of kids at Bathgate and Newhart, as well as an active volunteer in those schools. I love those schools. We have an amazing staff. I am super impressed by, sorry, it's time for my little daughter to take her afternoon meds. I'm very impressed by all the teachers, all the staff. My kids have excelled. I have the opportunity to work with so many amazing parents. I lead the watchdogs at Bathgate, and this past year, my roster had about 200 dads and granddads. And I think as most parents here, I'm really looking forward to the start of school. You know, my kids, maybe, my little one, yes, my older one, I don't know. But as the school is set to begin, I just want to remind everybody of the type of character some of our trustees exhibit. Judy Balakis, we've spoken before. You said the N-word at the March 2025 meeting. And we've actually had conversations, and you did offer an apology, and I was very glad and happy that you did that. We also talked about doing some racial sensitivity training. Later on, after that happened, some of the other trustees, when we were actually asking for accountability, Lisa Davis, Jennifer Adams, Lisa Zollinger, voted not to really hold any accountability. So basically okaying this. So when you see kind of the impact of those words, you see the type of people who are coming here and speaking, and by you taking no action, choosing not to take any sort of racial sensitivity training, either you don't think that you have any racial biases or you don't care, is one of the reasons, because we all have things that we could improve on. So I really call upon all of you to do this year. If you want to show our community that people like this, the comments like that, man, are unacceptable, you be the leaders. You show us and show our students what is important. You work and you guide all of our children, all of our families. We are a beautifully diverse community, district, city, state, country, world. Please really look at what you're doing and not doing, how that affects everybody. Because some people thought maybe using the M-word was maybe not a big deal or a slip of the tongue. It wasn't. A lot of people were hurt. A lot of people still tell me to be hurt, that they feel hurt. And still a lot of people at our Bathgate community ask that Judy Balakis not attend, our activities. So thank you all. I hope you have a great year, and I hope you make good decisions for all our children.
Starting with 10A, may I have a motion to adopt resolution number 2627-01, resolution of the Capistrano Unified School District Board of Trustees regarding purposeful, balanced, and responsible use of technology in support of school success. May I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Moved by trustee Adams, seconded by trustee Bullicus. I'd like to recognize Superintendent Brown to present the item.
Good evening, trustees. This is a follow-on item from discussions we've had multiple times in the spring about creating a screen time policy to make sure we're having balanced and appropriate use of technology in our classrooms. The resolution resolves to hold focus groups with families teachers, administrators, and students throughout the fall of this year to inform a policy to be brought back in the winter, early spring of this year for the board to consider. This is work that's being done by staff as well as trustees Zollinger and Castellanos as they work through this process. So this is a resolution that holds us to get this work done this year, and staff recommends approval.
Thank you. Questions, comments? Okay, all those in favor? Oh, so I'm so sorry. Thank you. We have Ms. Swanky, do we have any speakers on this
We do
item?
have one
you.
speaker, Jessica Costello.
Hi, I didn't know this was on the agenda, and I'm so thrilled that it is. So since I'm here anyways, prepared something to say, I'll go ahead and say it. My name is Jessica Costello. I'm the mother of a fifth grader at John Malcolm Elementary School. I've had the opportunity to volunteer in his classroom, and what I've observed has made me deeply concerned about our reliance on one-on-one devices for instruction. There's something profoundly depressing about walking into a classroom where every child is behind a screen. I was struck by the absence of ordinary classroom interaction and noise. No students asking questions, no teachers explaining concepts, no children engaging with one another. Looking more closely, I observed that many students were not actually engaged in learning at all. Some are on YouTube, some are playing games, others just literally clicking around, performing the appearance of productivity without meaningfully engaging with the work. We were promised that educational technology would produce greater engagement and personalized learning. What we're getting is distraction, superficial engagement, and learned passivity. This is particularly troubling for children who already struggle with attention. We've placed an extraordinary array of distractions directly in front of them, and when they inevitably seek out those distractions, they get punished, even though that is the environment that we've created. I understand why one-on-one devices became appealing during COVID. It was an emergency. We were solving an unprecedented problem with limited information. But we have more information now, and we should be willing to reconsider what is not serving our children. Technology has a role in education, but it should be a tool, not the medium through which our children are expected to learn. I would personally like to see CUSD take a strong stance against one-on-one devices like we've seen with LAUSD and discontinue one-on-one device use for K through 8, instead addressing technology skills, which are important, through computer lab or mobile carts like we used to do for a few hours each week. I'm thrilled to see that this is on your agenda, and I would love to be part of your focus groups or learning in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. If we could have staff reach out to Jessica to get her on that. Thank you. Now, trustees, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Thank you very much. We look forward to this. Thank you. All right, and Mrs. Swinky, can you please call the roll? I think this is a roll call.
Student Board Member Fingers.
Aye.
Trustee Castellanos.
Aye.
Trustee Pritchard.
Aye.
Trustee Zollinger.
Aye.
Trustee Jones.
Aye.
Trustee Adnams.
Aye.
Trustee Bullicus.
Aye.
Trustee Davis.
Aye. This motion carries 7-0 with a very large roll call vote, so a double vote, and a provincial vote of aye from Student Board Member Fingerish. Next, moving on to item 10B, integrated pest management and review of district pesticide use. This is an information item only and no board action is necessary. I'd like to recognize Deputy Superintendent Clark Hampton to present the item.
Thank you, President Davis, trustees. So before we get into the presentation, I would just like to give a little background on this. Over the last several weeks, there's been some concerns raised in the Ladera Ranch area about the use of pesticides and herbicides and potential impacts and long-term impacts on students. And as a result of that, the HOA, LARMAC in that area decided to do a 60-day pause on the use of any chemicals in the area. And because the school district has property literally adjacent to and does share property with the HOAs, the school district also implemented a 60-day pause just to be able to review the use of pesticides and herbicides within the community. So the following presentation, I'd like to introduce John Forney. He's our Chief Facilities Officer, to give a little background on the school district's use of the IPM, Integrated Pest Management Program for the school district.
I was going to call up Carlos Chicas, our Executive Director of Maintenance Operations and Transportation. later if there's any questions that follow the presentation. Good evening, President Davis, trustees, Superintendent Brown, and new student board member, welcome. Tonight, I'd like to provide a brief overview of our Integrated Pest Management, or IPM program. So, how the approach is used. So we have four bullets here: prevent, monitor and evaluate, control, and treat. The first is we prevent, reduce conditions that attract the pests. Second of all, monitor and evaluate, identify the condition and determine the level of need. Then control, use appropriate non-chemical methods when practical. And then finally, the last resort, treat, apply a targeted pesticide product when necessary. And I'd also like to point out, since 2017, the district voluntarily stopped using glyphosate, as known as Roundup, on all district-owned and district-maintained properties. Next, we have the Healthy Schools Act, so the California Healthy School Act of 2000 that guides the district's IPM procedures. And there are established procedures in these four bullets, which I'll quickly go over. The IPM coordination and planning. So a designated IPM coordinator for the district and a published IPM plan is always available for all. Training, annual training for employees who apply the pesticides, as well as mandatory annual training for all employees through the policy acceptance. And notification and posting. Annual product notification and required application notices. And if you can see to the right of the screen, this is already a procedure being strengthened. Looking at establishing a centralized process through which parents, guardians, employees may register to receive advance notice and have that centralized and still maintain the 72-hour notification procedure. And then finally, record keeping and reporting. Application records and required pesticide use reports. This is per the DPR, which is the California Department of Pesticides regulation. Finally, the annual notification that we do every year identifies products that may be used during the school year. That's may be used. Doesn't mean every product is used every year or every time. And it's broken down into categories, which is herbicides, insecticides, and this was a one for me, rodenticides for rodent management. So the herbicides for the landscape weed management, we have 5 products listed on our list. In the insecticides, the 15, there's quite a bit, as you know, like ants, cockroaches, there's a lot of insects for a lot of different potential treatments. And then finally, for the rodent management, there's 3 applications. Again, these numbers represent products that may be used, but not every product is routinely used. And then as Mr. Hampton said in his opening, we currently have, in July, the district implemented a temporary 60-day pause on routine pesticide applications for landscape and weed management. During the pause, we were reviewing products currently approved, and those products that are those 23 that I just mentioned the amounts, for district use, evaluating lower risk alternatives, including organic alternatives, and obviously were they practical and effective. But I do want to note that the pause does not prevent treatment when necessary to protect public health, address a significant pest condition, protect our critical infrastructure, or when there's no practical or effective alternative. But as I mentioned, that pause went into in July. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you. Do we have any speaker cards?
We do. We have 3 speakers.
Thank you.
Jenny Granero, and then it'll be followed by Amanda Quintox. Sorry if I misspelled that. And then followed by Amanda.
Good evening, members of the board and members of our community. My name is Jenny Granero, and I'm a Ladera Ranch resident, a mother of 3 children in the district at Oso Grande Elementary, and the founder of Ladera Goes Organic. Before I go into a couple of key messages, I wanted to just share a little bit about my philosophies. I'm very curious by nature. I'm a learner, and I like to understand first and ask thoughtful questions. So just wanted to open a little bit with that. First, we know, and a lot of this is not new, that our children deserve learning environments where their health and well-being come first. Second, this 60-day pause must lead to transparent, comprehensive plan for an organic first IPM program. Third, meaningful change requires more than a concern. It requires sustained advocacy, community participation, and people willing to step forward, like myself and a lot of our community members here today. Who are we? Ladera Ranch Goes Organic is a resident-led movement of parents and community members advocating for a healthier, safer, and more sustainable practices throughout Ladera Ranch and our schools. In only a few weeks, we've built a website, social media, educational Instagram platform, distributed lawn signs, which I brought with me today, shirts, shared community updates, and submitted formal requests, attended meetings, and encouraged residents to become informed and involved. I brought some of our lawn signs outside tonight because it represents more than a slogan. It represents residents who want thoughtful questions asked and meaningful action taken. And what are we asking for? We're asking for Capistrano Unified District to use this pause as the beginning of a genuine transition, not simply as a temporary interruption in current practices. And why does this matter? Again, we know this. We have the answers in front of us because children spend a significant portion of their lives on school, and I'm going to miss them so much next week when they go back on Tuesday and on Monday for Chalk the Walk. Why does this matter? We do not need to claim that every question has already been answered to agree that reasonable precaution and the exploration of safer, effective alternatives are responsible. And where should these protections apply? Across district properties, especially in our playgrounds, athletic fields, walkways, and gathering spaces where students and staff may encounter landscaping products. When should this work begin? Now, during this pause, while the district has an opportunity to evaluate its practices and establish a clear path forward. How can it be accomplished? Again, not new information, but through qualified independent expertise, transparent product inventories, public reporting, community participation, pilot programs, focus groups, measurable outcomes, and collaboration with communities that have already done the same. My advocacy has helped bring greater awareness and engagement to this issue. As we know, LARMAC temporarily paused 2 landscaping products, established a resident advisory council, and opened an important conversation about land.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Amanda Kintalk. I apologize for the mispronunciation.
Quintanilla.
It's Amanda Quintanilla, but thank you. Hi, I'm here today to speak about the integrated pest management and review of this district policy, and I appreciate that you're making this pause. However, as I look here at our trustees, I've been here before in fighting the toll roads with Trustee Lisa Davis prior, and we stood here before fighting for banning the battery energy storage facility in San Juan Capistrano. And I think it's really important to band together as a community and helping our neighbors. And when I found out about what's happening at Ladera Ranch, my heart went out. And I'm basically here more today as a mother, as a registered nurse who worked oncology, specifically also peds oncology. And my heart just poured out at the fact that the cases in Ladera Ranch were affecting these wonderful children and this rare cancer, Ewing sarcoma, and it's so rare that the chances of this happening is just unbelievable. And so I'm here today that you could really take this time to thoroughly review the policies that are here today. And when Deputy Superintendent Clark Hampton gave his presentation, one of the things that struck out at me is that on the rodenticides, rodents are basically food for other animals. And what happens with that is that if you give a rodent a rodenticide that will cause bleeding, and then the other animal will get it, and or other pesticides or herbicides, and they will take that up, and then it will kill our other species. So there's a impact of what you give to one rodent, and then it'll basically trickle down to our ecosystem. And I think that's really imperative to keep in mind, to be very responsible. I'm also here in support because of one of the people that I fought the toll road with, Michelle Schumacher. She's the one who was a champion at this many years ago with starting Non-Toxic San Clemente, and she's a board member at large for non-toxic communities. And I really think that you should reach out to her and really go through this policy to make sure that this is the best policy that we can. Also,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Amanda. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Amanda, and I'm a resident and parent in the district. Years ago, Capistrano Unified gained widespread community praise for eliminating glyphosate and Roundup to protect our students and staff. It was viewed as a major victory for children's environmental health. However, looking at the district's official pesticide disclosure records, we haven't actually escaped the chemical loop. CUSD has continued to list Cheetah Pro as an active weed control method. Cheetah Pro relies on glyphosate ammonium, an incredibly powerful non-selective chemical toxin. Swapping out Roundup for Cheetah Pro is a chemical shell game. This is exactly how the multi-billion-dollar agrochemical monopoly operates. When a public entity pushes back against one toxic input, distributors pivot them directly to an expensive substitute, keeping public schools trapped in a continuous loop of synthetic chemical dependencies. Right now, families across Orange County, and especially Ladera and the broader CUSD community, are actively demanding absolute transparency about chemical exposure in our shared public spaces. Fortunately, this administration recently took an excellent step by initiating a 60-day pause on the routine chemical spraying while a comprehensive review is being done. But a temporary pause is not enough. We cannot let this review period end with a quiet return to spraying chemicals like Cheetah Pro where our children run and play. Tonight, I am asking this board to take 3 concrete actions. Make the temporary 60-day landscape chemical pause permanent. Explicitly update the CUSD IPM plan to ban all synthetic, non-selective chemical alternatives, including glufosinate ammonium. Transition, and then third, to transition to a true organics first policy that invests heavily in soil health, mechanical aeration, and native landscaping. Let's break free from this corporate chemical dependency for good. Thank you guys so much and for your leadership.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Trustees? Trustee Castellanos?
Yeah, I have a couple questions. So we did a 60-day pause, and that happened in July. And so, walk us through what happens after the 60 days. I don't know who I'm asking you, John, sorry. After the 60 days. So then, is it coming back into this boardroom as a report out as to what you found, or what's the process that's going to happen? I know we've stopped spraying, and then what?
Yeah, so we're going to evaluate all the chemicals being used, look for alternatives, look for organic alternatives. We'll bring you a report on what's been found, what we could use, what's the planned effectiveness of those things, what are the cost changes of those things, all of that kind of information we'll bring back.
Into this room.
Into
so
this
we
room.
can have an open conversation
Absolutely.
with the communities.
Yes.
Okay. So that would be September board meeting is what we're, okay.
Yeah. If we are not ready in September, we will continue the pause until October. We
Okay.
will continue the
That-
pause
Right.
until we come back to report.
Yeah,
Okay. I just want to make sure we're having a transparent conversation and we're understanding what's happening
Right.
before we start spraying again, and then.
Yeah, the 60 days gave us a start. If we need 90 days, then we'll pause for 90
Yeah,
days.
as long as it takes to get it right. So
Okay.
we're not going to rush anything.
And then we can have a further discussion as to what we
Yes.
found out and how we can.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
I just want to thank you, John, and everyone who's worked with you. Just how responsive you've been, helpful to me, because for those in the room that don't know, I represent Ladera Ranch, and I've been there for 22 years, and I've raised 5 children there, and I still have a couple at home. This is really concerning. 3 of these families I know really, really well that have been impacted. Actually, I know more of them, but 3 are very close and have been neighbors of mine, which is concerning. We don't know what it is that's causing this cancer, so I don't want to speculate that it's just pesticides, but if there is a tiny chance that it is, we need to take care of it. And I really appreciated the proactiveness of just initiating the pause. And I can't help to go into our next item because it goes together, and it's our resolution. I just encourage anyone who's concerned to read through the resolution and the language, because it doesn't stop just here. The language in the resolution is very clear that we are going to be reviewing our protocols regularly, because when we know better, we do better. And I think we all felt a little safe from 2017. I did. I remember that push, and I thought, oh, good, we're using healthy chemicals. We're not, and we know that, and that's why we held the pause, or why it was initiated. And I'm just super grateful for how everyone has responded. And I think my feeling is we're all on the same page. You know, we all want to figure this out. We all want to make it better. And in this language, again, I'm sorry I jumped the gun on this one, but I just appreciate it that we acknowledge that there's emerging technologies. I mean, we could adopt some organic chemicals and find out down the road that those aren't okay either. So I appreciate that we are going to be looking at this and acknowledging as a district that we will be going through these regularly to make sure that we have the healthiest, safest product that we can for our kids. So thank you.
Other trustees?
I have a question. So Sam Lark was part of this discussion. Did we also reach out to AVCA?
No, this was with LARMAC.
LARMAC, sorry.
No, that's okay. Part of looking into this and really digging deep is we do have joint use agreements with not only LARMAC, but Sam Lark, Rancho Mission Viejo, and so forth. So I feel we need to strengthen those agreements with some MOUs that really say, hey, our students use the joint use. And there's not really language in there that discuss like the healthy school.
Can I ask, so the resolution is the start of that. Is it going to ever become a board policy where there would be?
So I mean, by policy, we can't enforce what they use.
Not what they use, but
we can recommend, right?
But our joint use agreements are us agreeing to
partner
with
them.
And
it does say that per the Healthy School Act, that if our children, our students are on those properties, that they must follow the Healthy School Act. So that's language I feel that we need in an MOU.
Remember a few years back when we had this issue with the Arundo, Donex, and the Army Corps of Engineers came down, their solution was rodeo. And we pushed back hard on them and made some demands that it would never come into contact with any of our school grounds.
Correct.
But I think there's a larger systemic issue with how we treat and manage pests and control this stuff. If they're saying it's safe, and they came into this boardroom and said, no, it's completely safe. Your children are fine with that. So I wouldn't pause with just the one agreement and maybe look at the rest of the joint use agreements.
Yes, absolutely. We'll follow up with all of them.
Other trustees? I appreciate Trustee Castellanos and Trustee Pritchard's clarifying questions on ways that we'll move forward on that, and with Trustee Zollinger for really digging in and working with the community. I know you had much to say at the meeting recently, and knowing some of the families, and it is, our heart goes out to those families and those that have been affected. And I do know that solutions are being worked on, and I appreciate that. And I really want to express my gratitude for our team and for the careful management of herbicides, pesticides, and rodent control. And the attention to safety helps protect our students and our staff. And I'm grateful for that we're implementing the 60-day plus time frame to navigate what needs to happen and to figure out and review where we are and what changes we may need to make. And the standards of safety are the highest priority, and the safety of our children is critically important. And we know that children are affected differently by certain things. And I do know that there's much work happening, to Trustee Pritchard's point about working with city partners on MOUs and joint use and making sure that things are looked at carefully. And things come up, and that's when we have to navigate and pivot. So I appreciate the work that's happening and the quick response on some things. And we'll just keep moving forward for navigating and carefully working on the health and safety issues here. So thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay, and let's see, are we? And that was an information only item, so there will be no vote on that. So thank you. Thank you for those that came to speak tonight. Thank you. And we'll be moving on to 10C. May I have a motion to adopt the resolution number 2627-11, resolution supporting safer landscape management practices, continuous review of herbicides and pesticides, and the protection of student health.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Trustee Adnam, seconded by Trustee Zollinger. And I'd like to recognize Deputy Superintendent Clark Hampton to introduce the item.
Thank you, President Davis, trustees. So this resolution is to reaffirm our commitment to safe practices of the use of pesticides and herbicides. And like Trustee Zollinger mentioned, a commitment to have it be a continuous ongoing process of refinement and always looking at the latest and ensuring that things have the minimal impact on students and staff. And so if you have any questions, we'd be happy to answer any more, but
thank you. And Ms. Swinky, do we have any requests to speak for this item?
We do. We have two.
Thank you.
So we have Jackie French and Zach Fleischman.
Good evening. My name is Jackie French. I am from Ladera Health Watch, and I'm part of the advisory committee in Ladera that's helping Ladera to go organic. So I just wanted to come here tonight and say thank you so much to the board. When I called and talked to Trustee Zollinger, I was so impressed, and it was so refreshing to see the difference in the way our HOA board has responded and the way this board has responded. It's very nice I feel like we're all on the same page and we all want the children to be safe. I think that we may have all been misled by the name, the Healthy School Act, because I think we had this false sense of security that everything was under control. I pulled some public records from 2020 to 2024, so I just wanted to share a couple numbers with you guys that I found in the data that I looked at. So one is that there were 626 pesticide applications at these 6 schools over 5 years, and 214 of those applications involved Cheetah Pro, which is the substitute for Roundup. Many people believe it's just as dangerous as Roundup, and it's banned in the EU. 200 pounds is approximately how much strychnine containing RCO Avalon gopher bait appears in these records. There were more than 175 pounds applied at San Juan Hills, more than 24 pounds at Tesoro, and smaller amounts at each of the other 4 Ladera schools. But I think we need to seriously look at what's happening with San Juan Hills and why the application rates are so high. And 41, that's the number of aluminum phosphide fumigate applications reported at Tesoro High School. There were 33 fumitoxin and 8 weevil-side applications. Aluminum phosphide releases phosphine gas, which attacks the respiratory, cardiovascular, and central nervous system. So I just wanted to share that information with you. I really appreciate the pause, and I hope we can take a good look at what's actually happening and come up with good alternatives. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Zach Fleischman.
Hi, everyone. I got to go quick here, so I'll do the best I can. First of all, thank you so much for the 60-day pause. Amazing first step. It seems like every word I've heard so far is everyone's on board for the general direction. I think what we need to do is really step up the the verbiage in the resolution. So my analogy here would be if I saw some ants walking across the desk and brought out a flamethrower and only one person in the room got killed, and then we decided to have a review on it and see, wait for the science to come out, see if, using a flamethrower is appropriate for killing ants. I think we could all use our common sense and not wait for the science to come out. When you have a problem that's relatively minor and you're using an extra dangerous solution, that is disproportionate. It's just common sense. And so in reviewing the resolution, I love the first half where it says you guys are committed to safe and healthy practices. You admit that children are uniquely vulnerable. Fantastic. You want to protect children from unnecessary exposure to potentially hazardous chemicals. Fantastic. Everyone's on board. Then I get to the word temporary 60-day ban. Again, perfect start, but not good enough. Then we get to evolving scientific research. We don't need to review that. This is common sense. We don't want poison. We don't want our kids breathing that in when there's already alternatives. This is a very simple thing. Honestly, it's the simplest thing I've heard all week. I have a tough job. I'm working all day and all night. It's the easiest thing I've come across all week. We have alternatives. We're not trying to figure out a solution. There already is a solution. In fact, Malibu, California, Portland, Baltimore, Tacoma Park, we can list a bunch of cities. They have all banned these pesticides already. These are banned. It's not soft language. It's not they're going to review it. They've already banned it. So for you guys to take a big step here and improve the language, you guys wouldn't be first to do it, but you would be heroes in doing it nonetheless. So I think we need to step up the language. We need to make this an official ban and use our common sense here. And also, even though I've avoided the science, even though I'm obsessed with science, if you look at pediatrics metadata analysis, this is an actual scientific study that pesticide herbicide exposure during childhood is associated with 26% higher odds of childhood leukemia. That's a real scientific study. I can call out all the numbers you guys won't remember, but you can look it up. This is common sense. We need to improve the language. We need to
Thank
mandate.
you, Mr. Fleischman.
Thank you. Trustees? I mean, to Gary's point, moving this from a resolution to policy, and I'm in support of a little stronger language, personally. I don't know if we want to bring it back in September. What are thoughts from the board? Trustee Castellanos?
Well, I think to what Trustee Pritchard was talking about, if there's other areas that we have shared space with and we want stronger language, then why wouldn't we do them all together instead of piecing them out one area at a time? And I know there was an issue, or there is an issue in Ladera, so that's why this one kind of got pushed to the front of the line, but they're all equally important and the work probably needs to be done. I guess the question is maybe even if, and I'm not opposed to stronger language, for sure. Because the resolution is specifically about shared space, we can put the language that we want in it, but what does that do with the like LARMAC and AVCA? We can't make them comply, right? And we can say, well, I guess at that point we could say then we're not going to share space, I guess. But there are some school sites where they're dependent on that shared space, and we don't have really another solution. So I agree that this board could take a stronger stance. I just don't know the reaction and I don't sit on those boards and know what would happen in a reaction to what we put out there. But if we want to pause for a moment on the resolution, I guess I would bounce it back to the trustees and if we're gonna do all of them at the same time, or if you feel like this is an urgency because of, I guess I'm open to what you think, Trustee Zollinger, or what, because you've had a lot of conversations with parents out there, and so, but I know the conversation has been happening, and Lisa, with AVCA too, for years.
Well, maybe we could hear, I'm guessing there's been some conversation with some of the joint use and the MOU, some of our groups that you guys have been working with. Can you speak a little on that?
One of the problems that I see in
Go
all
ahead.
of this is that all of us have cities, and Ladera is not a city.
Right.
And so there's not, we can't have the council speak about this in Ladera, but in Mission Viejo, yes. And in Niguel, yes. In Point, yes, because there's actual governance there. If we're really being sweeping about this, we need the Board of Supervisors in the county to also weigh in on this.
100%.
And I just want to be clear, the resolution does not call out LARMAC specifically,
No,
like
no.
Rolly. The resolution talks about all our community partners and actually talks about agencies for that very reason, so that it doesn't limit us to only talking with an HOA or only talking with a city council, right? But the idea is that
I don't think we're concerned about us, because we're not going to be doing this. We're not going to be
staff.
Yeah, staff, exactly.
Yeah, it's not limiting staff. So staff is going
Yeah.
to work with all of our areas that have shared spaces. It's not, we're not just going to work with Ladera.
Right. And as far as we're concerned in the board, I think we're not using these toxic pesticides in our schools. So that probably is stopping. Even though it's the 60-day, it'll continue.
Yeah,
As
yeah.
long as you're all on the board,
Yeah,
right?
we could definitely add the language in here that a 60-day or longer pause pending board action on the findings.
Yeah.
We were talking about the resume though, and the agenda item before it already talked about the 60-day, and we received the commitment that if we have to go longer, that we would. So maybe we want to consider a pause on the resolution, because we do have that language in the agenda item prior to it that we have voted on with the
You
flexibility.
didn't vote on the other item. It was information only.
Oh, okay,
So by
you're right.
putting it to the resolution, it puts it in writing.
Okay.
We're committing to it as a staff either way. The point of a resolution is that sort of putting in writing of, not only did we just say it from the dais, but here's a document that says in writing, we're going to pause for 60 or more days until we come back with findings to present to the board and the board takes an action.
But do we want to pass a resolution that we tend to think we're going to be changing?
Yeah. Like, would
I
we
don't-
have to bring, would we have to bring it back because there's language that we want to change, or do we think that?
It's
this
resolution, not policy.
We could
So
add,
no.
we could add in the fifth whereas, that it would read, whereas effectively July 2026, the district has implemented a temporary 60-day or more review period during which routine application of landscape. We could add 2 words there. Trustee Jones?
So a resolution is generally either a statement of principles or a statement of intent. And this is a statement of intent. It's not, as the Dr. Brown said, a policy. It's like, this is what we think, this is what we are planning to do, this is our intent. And the staff has made it pretty clear all over the place that they are committed to this. I think whether the words are changed a little bit to make it more this or less that, doesn't really matter. The staff is committed. They have made a statement of intent or of principles. Yes, I don't mind the idea of making it 60 days or longer depending on findings or whatever, but I think to kind of do a whole lot of wordsmithing now defeats the purpose of something that is just a statement of intent. I think we should go with it as a statement of intent, make, those little changes and just go. Otherwise, we're just going to be talking and not doing.
Well, and I think we've already gotten a commitment from staff that this is going to be ongoing. This is not going to be a one time. We're not just doing this once, but it's going to come back to the board on an annual basis at the least, so that we can review and see where we are. And I think adding just those 2 words is a tiny bit better. And it's not, and to your point, I mean, it is a resolution, very different than policy, but it also does share out, in which part of a resolution is to share out to the community as a board what our
And You can pass the resolution with the two-word amendment. We'll make the amendment. Obviously, we send the resolution onward. We will also make a statement of our commitment publicly following this board meeting that summarizes this as well. And then, like I said, it'll come back, and whether that then becomes policy or becomes part of the AR practice, we'll bring it back in terms of our integrated pest management system, along with the chemical choices or lack of chemical choices. All of those things will come back before we spray again. So
If we do much more, we're trying to get a resolution to do something that a resolution doesn't do.
Correct. And I think in the 14th paragraph, be it further resolved, the board respectfully encourages community partners, cities, counties, public agencies, transportation agencies, utility providers, homeowners associations, parks departments, landscape maintenance contractors, and other organizations responsible for maintaining public spaces used by the district and students to periodically review their own landscape. So I think the conversation is happening across South County. We also have the landfill that is a big topic of discussion at the moment. And there is much that needs to be done in these areas. And it does take the entire team and our CUSD team to work with these agencies and cities and unincorporated areas to best make decisions collectively for South County, because there are some things that are big concerns at the moment. So, any other comments, questions? Okay, so would someone like to motion? Okay, we do have a motion, but would someone like to amend that to add the two words?
I'll make that motion.
Okay. Moved by trustee Jones, seconded by trustee Adams. Or longer. To the fifth whereas. Okay, and if we'll have a vote, please. Roll call vote, please.
Student Board Member Fingers.
Aye.
Trustee Castellanos.
Aye.
Trustee Pritchard.
Aye.
Trustee Zollinger.
Aye.
Trustee Jones.
Aye.
Trustee Adams.
Aye.
Trustee Bullicus.
Aye.
Trustee Davis.
Huge aye. Thank you. Motion carries 7-0 with a preferential vote of aye from Student Board Member. I'm certain I'm not saying it right. Fingers. Thank you. I'm going to work on making sure I can work on that. Thank you. All right, and we'll move on to 10D. May I have a motion to adopt resolution number 2627-12, resolution of the Capistrano Unified School District Board of Trustees urging the University of California to ensure evidence-based STEM admissions practices that promote student readiness and success.
So moved.
Moved by trustee Bullicus, seconded by trustee Zollinger. I'd like to recognize Greg Merwin, Associate Superintendent, to present the item.
Thank you, President Davis. Staff presents item 10D. Dr. Meg Irvis, Assistant Superintendent of Secondary Curriculum Instruction, will briefly explain the background for the item. Dr. Irvis.
Following the direction of our superintendent, item 10D is being brought forward at the request of trustees regarding the University of California's admissions practices and student readiness for STEM coursework. Staff reviewed the issue and prepared resolution number 2627-12, which is before the board this evening. The resolution addresses the use of evidence-based measures of college readiness in UC STEM admissions. At this time, I will turn the item over to trustees for feedback.
Thank you. Mr. Swanky, do we have any requests to speak for this item?
There are none.
Thank you. Trustees? Trustee Bullicus?
I don't know how many of us trustees had received the email from another trustee in a different district, but I happened to catch it late at night and immediately hopped on that because I had read the same article that the reference was from the San Diego University, and both my kids are STEM kids. So there was some question about the language, which I understand. We're not here to try to support a third party, ACT, SAT, who make money on giving these tests. But I really appreciate the way it was written, that we just recommend that the universities look at any student that is looking to go into a STEM career or get STEM training for whatever they want to do. It has to be frustrating to these university teachers instructors, when they have students that is reported have a middle school level knowledge of math. And here they've been accepted into a 4-year university. So we want students to be prepared to be successful in college and then wherever they take that education. So there is the Regents meeting, and there are a lot of other school districts that are encouraging the, this all happened during COVID, like in 2019 or 20, that the universities changed their ruling in terms of looking at ACT and SAT in California. Yet our students are competing with other students if they're looking to go out of state. So whatever the parameter, whatever it is, there's all different ways to look at grades of performance, because we talk about grade point average in here too, because some of those students that they looked at that didn't have the level of knowledge had a 4.0. So again, I just want to thank you for the writing of it. I think it's on par. I hope the university UC system looks at this, and I think there's a lot of school districts that will be writing that, and that we better prepare all students for what they can expect in our universities. Thank you.
On the same note, I would just like to give a shout out to those working on the standards-based grading, because I think one of our problems is our grading, and it's not nearly as big an issue in math and science as it is elsewhere, but students are being given extra credit for things that don't demonstrate learning. And so a student can get, straight A's just by doing all this extra credit work or things that are not actually showing that they know the material. And I think as we move to standards-based grading, that is going to be much less of an issue. And I think that colleges will be able to rely on our grades much more than they can now.
Yeah, I would just agree with that. I think it's important that our evidence-based grading, how we are working on that and growing that is important, because the bottom line is it matters that these students are prepared when they get to college. And everything can be so weighty on the GPA, and we know all of us who had kids, the GPA, it's such a big deal. And I think we have to take a look at, and I know we are, and the UC system has to take a look at, how are they going to measure if students are actually prepared for their university, and how are we doing in actually preparing them? So I really like this resolution. Thank you to the trustees that brought it.
Thank you. I also got that same email and got on a call with him, and I am grateful that we have this on this agenda for today, because it is important that our communities understand that we support this, and we support excellent education across the board, rigorous education in every area, that students are expected to perform, and they're coming to school to learn, and all of the extracurricular is extracurricular. And I think, as Trustee Bullicus and I have talked a number of times about inspect what you expect, and this is a way to inspect that. So I am very much in support of this. Any other trustees? Trustee Castellanos?
Yeah, I just had a quick comment. I had talked to Dr. Brown about it, and I said, I had talked about my only concern is just access and making sure that all students had, sorry, can you not hear me? That all students had access. And so maybe we can go over that for everybody.
Yes.
Well, we can just explain it so that it's clear to the public, because I think that's an important piece.
Yeah, I mean, while our resolution does not specifically support one particular entity's test product, we do provide the SAT inside the bounds of the school day for our students here. So they don't have to go anywhere else. They don't have to travel to take the SAT. It's provided. So if the UCs were to readopt the SAT for STEM like they have, for Capo students, we make sure that they have access to that test, as well as the PSAT, as they practice for that test and get some results that they can use then to drive their work towards the SAT, should they choose to go that way.
Any other comments?
So it's also for just STEM-based disciplines.
Correct. Yeah, that was the way the resolution was moving around and at the direction from the UC staff who are doing a lot of this work, and the UCs, it's for specifically for STEM-based major admissions, not general admissions.
Other comments? Ms. Schwenke, can you please call the roll?
Student Board Member Fingers.
Aye.
Trustee Castellanos.
Aye.
Trustee Pritchard.
Aye.
Trustee Zollinger.
Aye.
Trustee Jones.
Aye.
Trustee Adams.
Aye.
Trustee Bullicus.
Aye.
Trustee Davis.
Aye. Motion carries 7-0 with the preferential vote of aye from Student Board Member Fingers. 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 Am I saying it correct? Okay, thank you. I really am, I am working on it. Thank you. Sorry. Okay. Okay, thank you. And we'll move on to next. We're moving to 10E. May I have a motion to adopt resolution number 2627-02, resolution of Board of Trustees of the Capistrano Unified School District, acting as the legislative body of Community Facilities District number 90-2 of the Capistrano Unified School District, Talega, authorizing the levy of special taxes in Community Facilities District 92-2 of the Capistrano Unified School District, Talega, for fiscal year 2026-2027.
So moved.
Moved by Trustee Bullicus. Seconded by Trustee Zollinger. I'd like to recognize Deputy Superintendent Clark Hampton to present the item.
Thank you, President. There you go. Thank you, President Davis, trustees. So this is for the Talega CFD. It establishes the levy for next year. This represents a 2.84% increase, or roughly $24 average change in the levy for next year.
Trustees, any questions, comments? Thank you. Ms. Schwenke, do we have any requests to speak on this item?
We have none.
Thank you. And can you please call the roll?
Yes. Student Board Member Fingers.
Aye.
Trustee Castellanos.
Aye.
Trustee Pritchard.
Aye.
Trustee Zollinger.
Aye.
Trustee Jones.
Aye.
Trustee Adams.
Aye.
Trustee Bullicus.
Aye.
Trustee Davis.
Aye. Motion carries 7-0 with a preferential vote of aye from Student Board Member Fingers. Moving to 10F. May I have a motion to adopt resolution number 2627-03, resolution of the Board of Trustees of the Capistrano Unified School District, acting as the legislative body for improvement area number 2002-1 of Community Facilities District number 90-2 of the Capistrano Unified School District, Talega, authorizing the levy of special taxes in Community Facilities District number 90-2 IA of the Capistrano Unified School District, Talega, for fiscal year 2026-2027.
So moved.
Moved by Trustee Jones, second by Trustee Bullicus. I'd like to recognize Deputy Superintendent Clark Hampton to introduce the item.
Thank you, President Davis. This represents a 2.36% increase in the levy, or $43 per year average for next year.
Thank you. Ms. Swinkie, do you have any requests to speak for this item?
There are none.
Thank you. Trustees? Okay, Mrs. Swinkie, please call the roll.
Student Board Member Fingers.
Aye.
Trustee Castellanos.
Aye.
Trustee Pritchard.
Aye.
Trustee Zollinger.
Aye.
Trustee Jones.
Aye.
Trustee Adams.
Aye.
Trustee Bullicus.
Aye.
Trustee Davis.
Aye. Motion carries 7-0 with the preferential vote of aye from Student Board Member Fingers. Moving to 10G, may I have a motion to adopt resolution number 2627-04, resolution of the Board of Trustees of the Capistrano Unified School District, acting as the legislative body of Community Facilities District number 98-1A of the Capistrano Unified School District, Pacifica, San Juan, authorizing the levy of special taxes in Community Facilities District number 98-1A of the Capistrano Unified School District, Pacifica, San Juan, for fiscal year 2026-2027.
So moved.
Moved by Trustee Adams, seconded by Trustee Zollinger. And I'd like to recognize Deputy Superintendent Clark Hampton to introduce the item.
Thank you. This represents a 0.03% increase to the levy, or about $1 per year more.
Thank you. Comments, questions? Okay, Mrs. Swinkie, do we have any requests to speak for this item?
There are none.
Thank you. And can you please call the roll?
Student Board Member Fingers.
Aye.
Trustee Castellanos?
Aye.
Trustee Pritchard?
Aye.
Trustee Zollinger?
Aye.
Trustee Jones?
Aye.
Trustee Adams?
Aye.
Trustee Willikes?
Aye.
Trustee Davis?
Aye. Motion carries 7-0 with a preferential vote of aye from Student Board Member Fingers. Moving on to 10H, may I have a motion to adopt resolution number 2627-05, resolution of Board of Trustees of the Capistrano Unified School District acting as the legislative body of Community Facilities District number 98-1B of the Capistrano Unified School District, Pacifica San Juan, authorizing the levy of special taxes in Community Facilities District number 98-1B of the Capistrano Unified School District, Pacifica San Juan for fiscal year 2026-2027. Moved by Trustee Zollinger. Seconded by Trustee Willikes. And I'd like to recognize Deputy Superintendent Clark Hampton to introduce the item.
Thank you. This represents a 2.36% increase to the levy, or $36 on average per year.
Thank you. Mr. Swanky, do we have any requests to speak for this item?
There are none.
Thank you. And can you please call the roll?
Student Board Member Fingers?
Aye.
Trustee Castellanos?
Aye.
Trustee Pritchard?
Aye.
Trustee Zollinger?
Aye.
Trustee Jones?
Aye.
Trustee Adams?
Aye.
Trustee Willikes?
Aye.
Trustee Davis?
Aye. Motion carries 7-0 with a preferential vote of aye from Student Board Member Fingers. Next up, 11I. May I have a motion to adopt resolution number 2627-06, resolution of the Board of Trustees of the Capistrano Unified School District acting as the legislative body of the Community Facilities District number 98-2 of the Capistrano Unified School District, Ladera, authorizing the levy of special taxes in Community Facilities District number 98-2 of the Capistrano Unified School District, Ladera, for fiscal year 2026 to 2027.
So moved.
Moved by Trustee Adams.
Second.
Second by Trustee Jones. And I'd like to recognize Deputy Superintendent Clark Hampton to introduce the item.
Thank you. This represents a 3.01% increase to the levy, or about $27 per year on average.
Thank you. And Ms. Swanky, do we have any speaker cards
There are
on
none.
this item? Thank you. And can you please call the roll?
Sure. Student Board Member Fingers?
Aye.
Trustee Castellanos?
Aye.
Trustee Pritchard?
Aye.
Trustee Zollinger?
Aye.
Trustee Jones?
Aye.
Trustee Adams?
Aye.
Trustee Willikes?
Aye.
Trustee Davis?
Aye. Motion carries 7-0 with a preferential vote of aye from Student Board Member Fingers. And now we'll move on to 10J. May I have a motion to adopt resolution number 2627-07, resolution of the Board of Trustees of the Capistrano Unified School District acting as the legislative body of the Community Facilities District number 2004-1 of the Capistrano Unified School District, Rancho Madrina, authorizing the levy of special taxes in Community Facilities District number 2004-1 of the Capistrano Unified School District, Rancho Madrina, for fiscal year 2026-2027. Moved by Trustee Adams, seconded by Trustee Willikes. And I'd like to recognize Deputy Superintendent Clark Hampton to introduce the item.
This represents a 2.58% increase to the levy, or about $101 on average per year.
Thank you. And Ms. Swanky, do we have any requests to speak for this item?
There are none.
And can you please call the roll?
Student Board Member Fingers?
Aye.
Trustee Castellanos?
Aye.
Trustee Pritchard?
Aye.
Trustee Zollinger?
Aye.
Trustee Jones?
Aye.
Trustee Adams?
Aye.
Trustee Willikes?
Aye.
Trustee Davis?
Aye. Motion carries 7-0 with a preferential vote of aye from Student Board Member Fingers. Moving on to 10K, may I have a motion to adopt resolution number 2627-08, resolution of Board of Trustees of the Capistrano Unified School District, acting as the legislative body of Community Facilities District number 2005-1 of the Capistrano Unified School District, Whispering Hills, authorizing the levy of special taxes in Community Facilities District number 2005-1 of the Capistrano Unified School District, Whispering Hills, for fiscal year 2026-2027. Moved by Trustee Zollinger,
Second.
seconded by Trustee Jones. And I'd like to recognize Deputy Superintendent Clark Hampton to introduce the item.
Thank you, President Davis. This is the last one, and we only have to do it once a year. So this represents a 2% increase to the levy, or about $196 per year on average.
Thank you. And Mrs. Swanky, do we have any requests to speak on this item?
There are none.
Will you please call the roll?
Student Board Member Fingers?
Aye.
Trustee Castellanos?
Aye.
Trustee Pritchard?
Aye.
Trustee Zollinger?
Aye.
Trustee Jones?
Aye.
Trustee Adnams?
Aye.
Trustee Willikes?
Aye.
Trustee Davis?
Aye. Motion carries 7-0 with the preferential vote of aye from Student Board Member English.
I have one question before we
Thank you.
continue. Out of curiosity, if we missed this deadline and it didn't get reported to county, what would happen?
They need to do this so that the levies can go through. We would be in violation of the indenture, the bond indentures under the CFDs.
And then what would we do?
I'm not sure. It's never happened before. We're always on time.
Just curious,
Yeah, we're always on time.
AAA credit rating.
5-star review. Moving on to 10L, may I have a motion to adopt resolution number 2627-09, preliminary 2025-2026 financial statements, unaudited actuals.
So moved.
Moved by Trustee Bolkus, seconded by Trustee Zollinger. And I'd like to recognize Deputy Superintendent Clark Hampton to present the item.
Thank you, President Davis. So this is the what's called unaudited actual. So it's kind of a wrap up of the prior year, 25-26. It ended June 30th. The finance department, fiscal services department closes the books. And speaking to the fiscal service department, I'd like to introduce Wendy Poffenberger. She's our new assistant superintendent for fiscal services. And she's just joined in us July 1st. So in addition to this opportunity to show the unaudited closeout of last year, we also, it's an opportunity to revise the budget. So this is a revision. I'll just show a real recap of the revision of the budget from the final signed state budget. So this marks a pretty interesting transition for the school district. This is the first year in Capistrano Unified School District's history that we are projecting to be a basic aid district, which is being a community funded district. And it's very simply stated that our local property taxes will be at or exceed what the local control funding formula would give us based on the number of students we have. So we're kind of crossing over that threshold. So last year we were LCFF funded. This year we'd be considered basic aid, and I say based on projections because it's based on estimated enrollment and estimated property tax revenue increases over the year. And they always have true ups. But we're kind of we're just crossing over the threshold. One of the impacts was that one of the charter schools went countywide, and so there's I'm not going to get into all the details of the way the funding flows, but that helped move us towards basic aid faster. And this also the 2026 budget includes some of the changes that occur with funding levels. There's some funding that you lose as a basic aid district, and then you gain some as well. So the estimates for this year, we project property taxes to go up 4%. And then for 3.5% for the out years. That's a very conservative estimate. We range, the property assessments can change from a high of like 12.5% in a year to being in negative in some years. And we've seen that in the last 20 years, that those peaks and valleys. But on average, it's around 3.5% to 6% as we over that time. One of the items I mentioned is the funding you lose is the Education Revenue Augmentation Fund. It's a portion of property tax gets distributed to LCFF districts. Community funded districts do not receive that. So in 26-27, we're noting that we don't receive those funds. And then in 27-28, community funded districts do not receive supplemental taxes, which is when a home changes hands and the assessed value goes up, the first year of that change, the school districts that are community funded do not receive it. And then that's just kind of the ongoing reality. And then you get that assessed valuation on that home the following year for the full amount. Also in the assumptions is our enrollment change. So you can see we're continuing kind of the mild decline based on the lower birth rates and the aging out of our homes is what's causing our enrollment to decline. So we project 39,415 and then 39,090 and 38,702. So very gentle decline. And we are growing out in Rancho Mission Viejo, but it's not enough to offset the decline in the other parts of the district. So What community-funded districts do receive is what's considered the basic aid, which is the greater of either the $120 per student or what the categorical funding was for school districts when they transitioned from revenue limit district funding to local control funding formula. So Capistrano's was 35,308,000. So that will be what's considered our basic aid. That's really why the term basic aid came about. School districts receive all of their local taxes plus the basic aid from the state. So, and basic aid just for,
To
go
be
ahead.
clear, this is not an extra 35 million. So we don't want anyone to go, oh, you're getting an extra. This is not an extra. This would be inside the normal revenue that we have. It's just why the name exists.
We've been receiving that all along as part of our revenue, or as part of our LCFF. So it's not extra. But the basic aid was established in 1952. Fun fact, if you're doing any trivia with your friends.
Everyone wants to know.
So in June, we showed the blue bars on the left. That was our projected ending fund balance. We're required to have 2% by the state. So we projected to end at 8.4% with now finalizing and wrapping up the fiscal year. Our ending fund balance was 9.1%. And our projections are now, instead of peak going to 11.8% in 28-29, it'll now be 18.5%. And the reason for that is that the state budget, a lot of that has to do with the state budget and a little bit of being community funded because we've just crossed over. So most of this is the impacts of the state budget. What is not included here is anything related to bargaining settlements. So that's not in here. That's happening right now. So one of the things with transitioning to community funded is you can have those swings in property taxes that are pretty significant. So they may average 4%, but there can be sometimes where you have negative growth. So you need to, school districts that are community funded need to address that and have much larger fund balances. And as part of that is kind of establishing a savings account, which is Fund 17. It's referred to as reserves other than for capital outlay. So it's for general expenditures, but it's just a separate fund for having a savings account for any fluctuations in projected or actual assessed valuations, so that if our property taxes level off, we can maintain services to students and go from there. So that will be brought back at the September 17th board meeting. So other revisions to after the final budget, no major changes resulting from the signed budget. There is some one-time grant funds that are in the final budget, which should be around $30 million for Capistrano Unified. That's a block grant. We have not budgeted for that. That's also not in our projections. We budget one-time money from the state when we receive it. And we would recommend it a part of that, and we'll bring those recommendations to the board later for how much we place in Fund 17. The one-time money is important to point out is fully discretionary, and again, not yet budgeted. And then the settle up. So the enacted budget keeps the governor's set aside of $3.9 billion that he owed school districts through Prop 98. He's holding that back. But the formula now states that the repayment must be made, but it can be made by putting money into the settle up reserves into Prop 98. So I don't know how much we can count on getting truly paid back, but we'll see what happens for next year. So this is as mentioned, our unaudited actuals. This is the budget schedule for school districts, and staff recommends approval of the unaudited actuals and revised budget for 26-27. Thank you.
Thank you. And Ms. Swinky, do we have any requests to speak for this item?
There are none.
Thank you. Trustees? The screen. Thank you. There we go. Thank you. Trustees? Trustee Castellanos? Oh, Trustee Jones. Thank you.
Go ahead.
No, I didn't have one.
Oh, sorry, it's just me.
Yeah, it's just
So, Mr. Hamden, go back to where you were talking about this updated amount. Go back a little more. I will tell you.
Which one?
Wait. I think it's here. About the $120.
Oh, Is it back? It's back this way.
That's,
Yes.
that's
There,
on this
yeah,
slide,
so, is this ADA or is it enrollment, the 120 per student?
It's based on ADA.
Okay.
All of our funding is based on average
Okay,
daily
I didn't
attendance.
realize that basic aid still gave us something in ADA, so that's interesting to me. And then Fund 17 is a fund we didn't have before. Our current reserves are in some different fund, is that
But
correct?
they're just held in Fund 1, which
Oh,
is
okay,
where
okay.
all the operating budget occurs.
Okay, and so Fund 17 is something that is just, this is what basic aid districts just have to have, and they have to call it
Don't
Fund
have to
17?
have it, but it's best practices to have
Okay,
it.
okay.
And I've seen that in districts I've been in that weren't basic aid, had
Okay.
Fund 17s.
I see. Okay, all right. So, so basically, we will start trying to save money each year into that. And so our reserves that might have been, 2% of budget or something like that before might have to go up to 10, 15% to protect us from this volatility.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
it could be,
whatever for the
yeah,
percent, yeah.
it could be higher. I mean, the typical for community funded districts is 20 to 40%.
Oh, I
You'll
see.
see.
Okay,
Mhm.
okay. Yeah, because I think this is something that's difficult for employees and the public to understand, is that there will be a quite large reserve that we'll have to keep, because you never really know about what could happen. A few years ago, property values went down. I remember in my own home, we asked to be reassessed. And so that can happen, and you have some volatility based on that.
Yeah, I mean, the way to think about it is when property tax volatility happens, if you're an LCFF funded district, the state uses income tax and state sales tax to backfill the drop in property taxes.
Right.
When you're a community funded district, there is no state sales tax and income tax that
Right.
backfills that drop in property
Right.
taxes. You eat the drop in property
Right,
taxes.
you're an island somewhere. Nobody knows about
You are funded by your community, so you
Right.
have to protect yourself at a different level than those that are state funded. You're
Right,
no
okay.
longer state supported.
And then there was the issue of when a home is sold, and in this area, sometimes the price increase is quite dramatic.
Right.
I won't tell you what we paid for our home, but it was not very much. And the houses in the neighborhood some of them are priced at over 2 million now. So, but there was a delay in receiving that
So-
increase.
So if you're a LCFF district and
Mm-hmm.
a home sells, so say a home was assessed for 500,000, that's the amount of property tax that's being paid on for
Right,
assessment.
right.
But its market value is 2 million. And in June, that house sells.
Right.
The school district's LCFF would receive the
But
assessed
it's no
valuation.
LCFF, right?
If you're
Okay,
not
oh,
community
yeah.
funded.
Okay,
if you-
right.
You would receive the tax base for that 500,000,
Mm-hmm.
and in the next 6 months, you would receive the taxes based on that the million or $2 million price, right? If you're community funded, that differential in that year, the state keeps.
Okay,
It goes to other places.
so it's like a year delay
Yeah,
on getting.
Getting the full value of that new
the full
assessed
value.
valuation.
Okay, but that's always, there'll
Right.
always now be a year
Right.
delay on getting this.
The only year it really it affects your budget. You always could have gotten more than you should have. But in your first year of transition, what it means is if you're predicting a 3.5% increase, that prediction includes all those home sales that'll happen mid-year. So what happens is in your second year of transitioning to basic aid, you get a flattening of your revenue. You don't get all of the increase. After that, it becomes a steady because it's happening year over year. You're not transitioning it. So you have to budget for this idea that while property taxes might increase 3.5% year over year, in your second year, you're not going to realize that in your revenues.
And also in your first year, right? So the first 2 years are kind of flat, and then after that, you hope to get some growth.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk more about this in a board workshop to
Okay.
really dive into basic aid.
All right.
But yes, I mean, we are not suddenly Laguna Beach, not
Okay.
even close.
We're never gonna be in
it's
Laguna
it's like slightly more than LCFF would have been, right? So
But,
it'll
yeah,
slowly
and,
move up.
and one of the
100.
pluses is also you're protected from state cuts. When if there was some huge economic downturn next year and the state has to cut school funding, we would be protected because
As long as it
we're
didn't
already
affect
locally
property
funded.
taxes. If it
Right.
affected property taxes, then we're
So
not
that's the good news.
So what about the Prop 28 arts funding? Does
Same.
that stay the same?
All those kinds of things stay the same.
So we
LCAP.
would continue to get
Yeah.
Prop 28 funding.
Yeah, and we'll cover all these details in the workshop, but
Okay.
you still have to have an LCAP. You're still
Okay.
accountable to
Right. But
what.
then a
funding.
lot of our CCA is grant funded. And so if they keep running grants and are successful with grants, that's going to keep coming in. That's completely unaffected here.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Sorry, I didn't realize that we would still be ADA funded. So
No, well, some portions of your funding, the basic aid, you're getting, that basic aid funding based on your ADA.
yeah, so if our property taxes cover it for 100% attendance, and let's say we have 93% attendance, where does that other 7% go? Does it go to the state or does our community
No,
keep it?
you're funded on your local property taxes. You get to keep it all.
Yeah, no, I thought so. Oh, I'm sorry, but I thought you were saying that our average daily attendance impacted what we received.
So you're funded on your average daily attendance. So if your attendance is 92%, you're going to get less than if it were 96%
Right.
for that basic aid amount.
Just for
But
that.
you're still going to get you'll get all of your local property taxes independent of what your enrollment is. That's in other words, that with the decline in enrollment, there's no impact on a basic aid district, except you get more money per student then, because there's fewer students, but you have the same amount of money.
Yeah. And again, when we do the workshop, we'll show some graphs and we'll go through some scenarios of if we were LCFF, we had this many kids and it changed. Here's what happens. As community funded, here's what could happen. So we'll kind of run through some scenarios.
Yeah.
That will be in the October board workshop, just to be very clear for those who might be interested.
Yes.
Any other comments, questions? Thank you, Clark. Okay. Ms. Swanky, can you please call the roll?
Student Board Member Fingers.
Aye. Pause. Go ahead. Do we have any speaker cards?
We have none.
Thank you. Now, if you'll please call the roll.
Student Board Member Fingers.
Aye.
Trustee Castellanos.
Aye.
Trustee Pritchard.
Aye.
Trustee Zollinger.
Aye.
Trustee Jones.
Aye.
Trustee Adams.
Aye.
Trustee Bullicus.
Aye.
Trustee Davis.
Aye. Motion carries 7-0 with a preferential vote of aye from Student Board Member Fingers. Moving on to 10M, may I have a motion to waive the second reading to adopt Board Policy 3250, transportation fees? Moved by Trustee Zollinger. Seconded by Trustee Adams. And I'd like to recognize Deputy Superintendent Clark Hampton to introduce the item.
Thank you, President Davis. So these are some policies, this one and the following one, that needed updating. So it just brings them up to date with the latest ed code. The staff recommends approval.
Thank you. Ms. Swanky, do we have any requests to speak for this item?
There are none.
Thank you. Trustees? Okay, with that, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? But doesn't this need to be a roll call? Okay, thank you. All right, motion carries 7-0 with a preferential vote of aye from Student Board Member Fingers. Moving on to 10N. May I have a motion to waive the second reading and adopt Board Policy 3540, transportation?
So moved.
Moved by Trustee Bullicus, seconded by Trustee Adams. And I'd like to recognize Deputy Superintendent Clark Hampton to introduce the item.
Thank you, President Davis, trustee. So this is the same as the previous one. It just, it's an older policy that we needed updating to current ed code.
Thank you. And do we have any requests to speak for this item?
There are none.
Thank you. Trustees? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 7-0 with a preferential vote of aye from Student Board Member Fingers. We'll now move on to the consent calendar. Mr. Swanky, do we have any requests to speak for this item?
There are none.
Thank you. Do any trustees have any consent items they'd like to pull? Okay, with that, may I have a motion to approve the consent calendar? Moved by
Second.
Trustee Zollinger, seconded by Trustee Bullock or Trustee Jones.
Jones.
And Mrs. Swanky, can you please call the roll?
Student Board Member Fingers.
Aye.
Trustee Castellanos. Trustee Pritchard.
Aye.
Trustee Zollinger.
Aye.
Trustee Jones. Trustee Adams.
Aye.
Trustee Bullicus. Trustee Davis.
Aye. Motion carries 7-0 to approve the consent calendar with no items pulled. And motion carries 7-0 with a preferential vote from Student Board Member Fingers. And I'd like to recognize Superintendent Brown to share his comments.
All right, good evening, everybody. Clark kind of stole my thunder a little bit. I was going to start by welcoming our 2 new cabinet members to CUSD. We have a new Chief Technology Officer, Mr. Michael Robbins. Thank you. And as Clark already introduced, our new Assistant Superintendent of Fiscal Services, Dr. Wendy Poffenberger. We are thrilled to have stolen these 2 great people from other districts. I had to apologize to their superintendents, but it's all fair. So you got to do it, yeah. So obviously this time of year, and we heard from some of the speakers, parents are thrilled because school's about to start. Kids are maybe in different levels of thrill for school about to start. Teachers are all super excited, I can tell you, living with one, that school's about to start, that they cannot wait to get back. But really, if you're a new family to Capo, welcome. If you're a returning family to Capo, welcome back. Hopefully you had a great summer. Hopefully you're squeezing those last couple minutes of joy out of the summer before we head back. And for the kids who are truly depressed, Thanksgiving break is really not that far away. We can do this. We can make it. And as we prepare for our first day of school, I just want to remind all of our students and staff for the coming school year that we're committed to fostering schools that really treat our students and our families with dignity and respect. We want to make sure that every family is welcomed as an essential partner in their child's education. We want to make sure that we're supporting every employee through making thoughtful professional decisions, and that we're addressing questions with collaboration, honesty, and respect. That's what we're committed to this year. We've been talking a lot about that over the summer. And with that, I will see almost all of you on Tuesday, the 18th. Welcome back. I'm sure it will be 100 degrees because that's how school starts. So welcome back, everybody.
Thank you. Trustees, comments? Okay, and I just am excited about the beginning of the year. I mean, there's nothing better than the beginning of the year. Sharp pencils, new backpacks, new shoes, new teachers, new books, new backpacks. The excitement in our home every year as we started the beginning of the year was always so much fun. The anticipation of who you'll sit by and what the year is going to be like and what you're going to learn and what you're going to play at recess. So I'm grateful for the dedication of our teachers, our staff, our support staff, administrators who work every day to create a safe and welcoming learning environment. And it does take all of us to make it a beautiful, wonderful, well-oiled machine. And I appreciate the work of everyone and this team up here. And I look forward to making this a strong, focused, positive year as we move into the 2026-2027 school year. And I'd like to acknowledge the retirees list for this month. We have the certificated retirees on this month's agenda with 30 years or more of service. Karen Thompson, elementary teacher, taught for 40 years. Vanessa Stone, elementary teacher, 35 years. Jennifer Sullivan, 34 years. Barbara Skelly, 33 years. Teresa Sarah Ramirez, 32 years. Melinda Emery, 32 years. Sean Lohman, middle school teacher, 32 years. Kim Nakamoto, 32 years. Maria Ibrahimi, 30 years. John Carrington, 29 years. Aaron Hill, 29 years. Scott Kearney, 29 years. Randy Birch, 27 years. Ola Murphy, 26 years. Kimberly Percio, resource specialist, 26 years. Sandra Boylan, elementary teacher, 26 years. Dottie Anderson, 20 years. Amal Halil, 20 years. Michael Schooler, 19 years. Maria Manzotti, 18 years. Patrick O'Rourke, 15 years. So I'd like to just recognize and appreciate them because that's a lot of combined years. So thank you. And then our classified staff retirements. Matt Krause, 28 years. Oh, Matt. Marlo Hernandez, 26 years. Valeria Lopez, 25 years. Ann Lopez, 22 years. Catherine Romagnano, 22 years. Deborah Pfeffer, 21 years. Marcus Calagus, 20 years. Sandra Moore, 20 years. Lori Sherry, 18. Patricia Wirtz, 17. Susan Zabo, 16. I know Susan. Cindy Hamilton, 14 years. Philippa Townsend, 14 years. Crazy to not see her sitting there. Gregory Jacobson, 11. Kristen Zabas, 11. Timothy Hostetter, 10. And Johnny Booker, 7. So I just want to thank each of them for their service and all the service that goes in. And I mean, it is an act of love to be in education, and you better love it or you might want to find somewhere else to be. So we're excited and looking forward to this great year. With that, before we adjourn, we'd like to recess to closed session to discuss the conference with labor negotiations. So we'll return. Thank you.
President Davis, we are live. You may start the meeting.
Thank you. Ms. Swanky, can you please report out from closed session?
On agenda item 4E, conference with labor negotiators, there's no reportable action. This concludes my report.
Thank you. We have a motion to adjourn the meeting. Moved by trustee Zollinger, seconded by trustee Adams. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries 7-0 to adjourn the meeting. The time is now 8:18 p.m.
Thank you.
Have a great night. Thank you.